Thanks for joining me once again for an episode of The Fool's Journey by The Third Eye of Providence. If this is the first time you're checking out this content, this is one episode of a series that we started January 1st of 2021 to walk through each card of the tarot. Now, this episode is number 16, and we are on card number 15, the Devil. And I am using the Robert Hansen's Tarot because this is also a deck that can be read in reverse. That's going to be our main study guide. And then I have the Twin Tarot as a comparison because it shows the positive light aspect and the negative shadow aspect of the same card. So let me get into the Complete Book of Tarot Comprehensive Guide by Anthony Lewis to read to you the description from the book. And let me show you another reference of the card, the Devil. So in this one, you'll see pretty standard representation of the card that you'll see across many versions of tarot to represent the Devil. Now, according to this guide, the Devil is a card that is a twisted view of the world. Now, the Devil card can also be represented by the god Pan. Its astrology is connected to Capricorn, which is the sea goat or a mountain goat, and that's an earth sign ruled by Saturn. So this card is connected to the element of earth. Now, going back, so we have some archetypes and myths that would be connected to the card of the Devil. Again, this is Lord Pan. That's him right there. Who is a sex-crazed, goat-legged god of the shepherds. This imagery is very connected to Celtic mythology. And we also see the Devil card as being represented by Bacchanalia, Baphomet, which you would see in this card, also Lucifer. It's connected to Cernunnos, which again would be more of this energy, the Celtic. It's also connected to King Midas, which might be something closer to this imagery. We also have Alexander the Great, a Lord of the Flies, and Beelzebub. It's also connected to the imagery of Adam and Eve. Okay, so going back through different tarots, in 1888 there was the deck by Mathers, and this card would have represented fatality for good, and in the reverse it would have been fatality for evil. In the Rider-Waite, when the Devil appears in a reading, this is going to represent violence, vehemence, extraordinary efforts, force, fatality, and that which is predestined but is not for this reason evil. In the reverse, it would represent evil, fatality, weakness, pettiness, and blindness. So, in the Order of the Golden Dawn, when the Devil appears in a reading, it's going to represent materialism. Again, it's the earth energy, and it's connected to Saturn. And this has to do with the third dimensional, the material, the physical. So, it'll also represent material force, material temptation, and obsession. It says that, according to the Order of the Golden Dawn, when the Devil appears in a reading, it represents the qualities of obsession and carnal temptation that are enhanced by the presence of the lovers. Okay, so when we see the Devil upright in a reading, it's going to suggest that you have an opportunity to pursue activities that provide intense pleasure and satisfaction. This card often appears when we are contemplating a project requiring almost an obsessional devotion to achieve a material ambition. Again, this Capricorn energy. They are taskmasters, they are definitely getter-doners, and they have this Saturn energy behind them. The devil cautions us to maintain balance in our lives as we eagerly pursue this goal and not to allow excessive attachments to material temptations to lead us astray. Yes. So sinning, right? Unfortunately, the devil card has become linked to views of dour theologians who believe that bodily pleasure is sinful in the eyes of the deity who, ironically, created the human body with all of its capacity for enjoyment. The devil card teaches us that seeking pleasure in life is perfectly acceptable so long as it's done with moderation, which is why Temperance, card number 14, precedes card number 15, the devil, because temperance is all about moderation. And I also like to think about temperance as the angel on your shoulder, and then you have the devil on the other shoulder, right? So when this card appears in a reading, it's time to lighten up and delight in activities that you may have avoided because of a rigid sense of obligation or morality. The devil whispers in your ear, if it feels good, do it. Thus, there is a cherished worldly ambition you have been held back from pursuing, and now is the time to go for it. The devil simply cautions you to maintain a spiritual perspective so that you can avoid becoming ensnared by your material ambitions and adopt a twisted view of the world. Along these lines, a recent survey of thousands of parents in the UK found that despite the popular notion that money, professional success, and material possessions are essential for a happy life, 95% of them stated that they thought the key to happiness lies in spending quality family time together. Now, when we see the devil reversed in a reading, it's going to suggest that you have gone too far in pursuing pleasures and sensual delights. Imbalance and extremes of behavior may be causing difficulties. Obsessive devotion to any type of materialistic goal or corporeal pleasure is a form of bondage and entrapment. Sometimes things that feel good are not good for us. An important feature of the image on the devil trump card is the chains that are easily removed once you realize that they are present. Otherwise, you end up echoing the words of Oscar Wilde. I can resist anything except temptation. So, of course, let's go through it. In the positive aspect of the devil card, which it's not necessarily a positive card, but the positive aspects of this would be breaking free of morality that is rigid, enjoying material attachments, making healthy choices, having fun, confronting temptations, delighting in what gives you pleasure, enjoying sex, adopting a spiritual perspective, confronting one's inner demons, and casting off the chains of religious dogmatism, leading the life that you desire, and intense devotion to a worldly ambition. So there are positive aspects of the devil card, and it could be obsession with something that is improving yourself or improving your position in life so that you could be of service to others, right? It's not necessarily a negative card when you get the devil. It's all about the context in which you're reading it. Now, with the shadow aspect of the devil card, this, of course, talks about entrapment and bondage and obsession, material temptations, imbalances, dishonesty and ignorance, enslavement to religion and confining beliefs, rigid morality, definitely represents codependency and addiction, self-deception, unhealthy attachments, overindulgence, perversions, wickedness, going to extremes, and the shadow, basically the shadow self. So, let's get into the symbolism of the card. Now, of course, you saw in the Robert Hanson's, this is Baphomet for sure. This is Beelzebub. So we have the Lucifer energy here. And basically, the symbolism you'll see in lots of different versions of the tarot will be this goat horned type of beast. And they will always pretty much have the inverted pentagram. Now, if you're not familiar with the pentagram, in the upright, it is actually a symbol for spiritual protection. And it does represent all of the elements plus ether. Now, in the inverse, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily a hex or a curse, but it represents the mirror of protection, which is that this is Capricornian energy. It's something Saturnian that is going to force you to expand yourself, to grow, to do something that is, hard and tedious, but it's for your best. So when I see an inverted pentagram, I don't necessarily think of evil. I think of something that is necessary, right? A force that needs to be reckoned with. All right, so the other image you'll see traditionally is the devil is standing on this pillar on which the lovers are chained to. This could also be Adam and Eve, but in this deck, this is definitely the lovers. So the chains that are on these two are easily removable. If you can see, they could slide these off here if they only saw the chains that were binding them. There's also this idea that they know the chains are binding them. They've chosen this position. And this is what we talk about with the devil when we're talking about unhealthy attachments, right? Especially when it comes to codependency, when it comes to addictions, when it comes to entrapments and entanglements, right? You ultimately have the power to walk away from these situations, and you have to reckon with that energy. The Saturnian energy in your life is giving you the opportunity to expand and to grow and to move past these energies, but it is your choice ultimately. So when we go into the Twin Tarot, obviously this is very different from the imagery of the traditional, but again, you'll see Lord Pan here, and you see the cannabis, right? You see the poppies, and you see the wine, the grapes. So this is to represent, of course, in the positive aspects, it's it's the light aspect, I should say. This is about enjoyment in these material items and these earthly pleasures. Um, but the temptation is still here to overindulge, to get too carried away in your partying. And Lord Pan is definitely all about the fete, and there would be like music and dancing and the wood nymphs all around. So this is to caution you, don't let these earthly pleasures overtake your goals, right? Don't let them distract you from what it is that you're working toward. This obsession, right? This like drive, this passion for something. Now, in the shadow aspect of the devil card, of course, you see the lovers, and they are naked, of course. It's Adam and Eve energy. It just represents their vulnerability, right? This is their innocence. They have nothing is being hidden, right? And they're just tied up by the puppet master here. And look at how much fun he's having, just twisting them all around. And they're totally ignorant to being manipulated. And of course, these are strings, and they can easily slide right off and get out of this situation should they become aware of their unhealthy attachment. All right, well, that's all we have for the devil card. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this episode once again. If you have not already hit the subscribe button, do that now, and you'll get the notification daily when I post a new video for the month of January. And if you want to hit the save button on this playlist, you can actually just check out these episodes whenever you get around to it, or go back to them as you're learning tarot yourself, and when you come upon a card in a reading you're not too sure about, pull up the video. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you learned something new and that the symbolism was easily translated for you. If there's something that I have missed and you want to leave a comment below, that's super appreciated. It's going to help everybody here on this channel expand their knowledge of the tarot. So I thank you in advance for any feedback we get. Love you guys so much. Thanks for joining.